Now a reading from Ancient Wisdom, Psalm 8. Creator God, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory in the heavens through the praise of children and infants. You have established a stronghold against your enemies to silence the foe and the avenger. When I consider your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place, what is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them. You've made them a little lower than the angels and crowned them with glory and honor. You've made them rulers over the works of your hands. You put everything under their feet, all flocks, all herds, and the animals of the wild, the birds in the sky, the fish in the sea, all that swim the paths of the sea. Creator God, how majestic is your name in all the earth.
Good morning again. It's good to see all of you. I am excited to be able to do our pet blessing today. When I first met with Pastor Jackson in her role as pastor here at Cameron, I told her my thoughts about this Cameron community. I told her that you all were open and progressive. You enjoyed hearing new thoughts on theology. You love music, any kind of music. But as much as you love each other, the church and music, you and I are absolutely crazy about our pets. We have so many pets in my family and in the church community, from lizards and snakes to cats and therapy dogs. I would even go so far as to say that in our progressive theology, we are even more aware of how we are to love all of God's creation. I know PJ has had a distinct focus on caring for each other in a manner that is equal, visible, and valued. And I believe our sense of value for each other in this world is reflected in how we care for our animals and for nature. The ever-creating creation of God is more present in our minds and in our votes. So many of us have enjoyed, some for the first time, the feel of the earth in our hands as we spent more time in our gardens this summer than maybe we ever have. The life that fills each of our days through yards and animals expresses our respect for creation. I know you love your animals. Do you know how I know? You let them lick you. My dog Zoe loves to lick my legs. I must be very tasty. I try to get her to stop, but you know, that's just who she is. Do you know how else I know you love them? You pick up their poop. I picked up my kids' poop for about 3 years, and that was it. I was done. But I'm still picking up poop for my animals. Do you know how else I know you love them? Because we spend so much money on them. Americans spent $73 billion with a B dollars on their animals in 2019. And it is projected that this year we will have spent $99 billion. Jesus said, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. As much as Jesus loved all things, I'm not sure he would totally agree on that amount of money being the best way to invest in the earth. But it also speaks to our willingness to care for them. Why do we do this? Because our pets love us with pure love, unconditional love. They don't love us because we do things for them. Well, maybe a little bit, but they just love us because. And that love doesn't change day by day. It is consistent and huge and beautiful. It's the same love that God has for us. In our recent Tuesday afternoon study of Les Mis, the author of the study book explains creation in this way. God creates, names, and gives purpose. Let there be light so that there might be day. Let there be water so that there might be fish. Let there be humanity to till and keep the garden. The mystery of the universe, the how and why, can be found in everything. How? Let there be. Why? I love you. Let there be because I love you. God's love is searching for a way to express itself, and waters part and mountains form. God's love is pouring out and plants sprout, fish swim, birds fly, animals creep, and humanity awakens. God's love is searching for a word to describe the unfathomable beauty of creation. And God says, it is good, very good. And God and creation rest in each other. In essence, creation is love in search of a word. But humans, their love is more complicated. Who has lived with both humans and pets? Now, say amen or wave your hand if the pets were easier to live with than the humans. I'm so glad God sent us animals to love us so that we could know and feel the love of God like that. But I wonder what if humans could love each other with that same love of God, pure and constant and unconditional? What if we could let our animals show us how to love each other? So I have a story about dogs, humans, and love. I don't know if it happened this way or not, but I know the story is true. And it is about a saint named Francis. There was a man named Francis, but not just any man, a man of God, a servant of God, a saint, someone who worked hard for God and only God for his whole life. He loved God so much and loved things so little that when he was a very young man and a very rich man, he went into the center of town, kind of like Civic Center Park, and he took off all his clothes and walked away from them. He walked away from his riches, his things, and he said, that's it. All I need is God. One thing particular to Francis was how much he loved not just God and humans, but also animals. Birds would come hear his sermons. He named his mice in his monastic cell. Traveling anywhere with him was a pain because you would have to stop after rainstorms to put every worm back in the dirt. Now, in a nearby town, there was some trouble, bad trouble. A wolf was threatening and harassing and killing the townspeople of Gubbio. The wolf didn't care who he ate, he was just being a wolf. The people stayed inside the walls of the town, but sometimes they had to go out. Farmers would take their vegetables for market day, or a doctor would have to go tend a child out in the farms. But they couldn't stay inside the town forever. So they sent a big group to go talk to Francis at the monastery to see if he could help them with their wolf. It had rained when they were returning to town, and the trip was slow because of the worms. Slow trip back, all the worms. But back safe inside the city, they told Francis about the wolf, thinking that the village was a restaurant where he could find tasty morsels. After listening intently, Francis got up to go reason with the wolf. But the villagers cried, "He will kill you and eat you for supper." And Francis softly said, "Not to worry. Christ is Lord of all creatures." He went out and he called the wolf. And the townspeople climbed up on roofs and peeked over the battlement to see what would happen. The wolf came running and bounding, mouth wide open, ready for supper. And Francis said, "In the name and with the power of Jesus Christ, I compel you to stop." And the wolf stopped. Francis looked him in the eye, and he lay down at Francis' feet. Francis said to him sternly, "You have been terrorizing and even eating these people who are made in the image and likeness of God, even children. Now I know you did this because you were hungry, but this behavior stops today. I wonder if you're ready to make peace with these people." The wolf nodded. Francis said to the town people, "If you want peace with this wolf, you must be kind to him and feed him every day. Will you do this, people?" And the people said, "We will." And so it was every day for years until the wolf died after a well-lived and loved life, and everybody wept. Now this story sounds too amazing, but think about it. At some point, all dogs were wolves, and somebody tamed that first wolf. From that wolf, all the dogs of our world are descended. That's a fact. A Chihuahua and a Pit Bull, how can that be when they're so different? And yet they can all be tamed with love, consistency, food, but mostly love. You know, some people still believe that humans are a different species, and certainly we look so different on the outside, not as different as dogs are, but our fur can be different colors, our skin is different colors, we come in different sizes, and we have very, very different personalities. But I know we can all be loved and nurtured by the love of God and by the love of one another. Every day, we need to be open to that love that flows through our world, even through smoke and rain and viruses and hate. We do that when we are gentle with each other. We feed each other. But on those days when we feel used up, discouraged, and feel like hiding, many of us have cats or dogs or rats or snakes or pet rocks or any number of pets that can help us feel calmer, focused, and maybe even a little more settled. God the Creator and God the Creating shares with us in the Psalm of wonder of all creation. And we who have ears to hear and eyes to see know that we are part of that wonder and creation. Our response to our love for our Creator is to continue the creating. We are called to the edge, to the margins of bringing light and love to the world in whatever way we can. And most of us don't even know that we are doing that and where it will lead us. But in the meantime, we have companions. Our furry, forever friends only know love when we love them. They are a reflection of our own souls. So today we honor all those who care for animals, big and small, wild or tame, feathered or scaly. When we honor God's creation, we honor and acknowledge the presence of God in our midst. May the grace of God uphold you, the peace of God surround you, the love of God flow from you, and the strength of God protect you and your pets as we are reminded of God's love. Go now in peace. Amen.